Hello everybody! If you don't know who I am, I go by Fairy Jocey over on BookTok, and this is a long time in the making. I am finally doing it. I cannot believe it. I'm so excited to be here. I really want to do vlogs, but I need to get my feet wet, so that's what I'm doing here today. Today I'm going to take you through some of my favorite Greek mythology retellings, as well as my TBR for the month of September, which is all Greek mythology inspired. Let's get into it. If you need to know anything about me, it's that Percy Jackson was my first and true love that really got me into reading. So of course, that's going to be the first on this list. Percy Jackson is one of those stories that no matter what age you read it, you are going to transcend into the world so seamlessly and flawlessly. The writing style, it's very blunt. Like, the sentences are very short and some scenes are kind of glazed over. Like, for example, they'll be in like one city, this sentence, and then they'll be in the next city in the next. And that sounds discouraging, but it's actually, it makes for such a fun read. Percy Jackson just makes it so much more like boom, to the point, boom, to the point. And you get a lot more scenes from that. I am currently rereading the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and then I'm going to be reading the Heroes of Olympus. If you don't know what that is, it's basically, I think it's like the Roman gods, but I know that Percy and Annabeth are in it, so I'm curious how that kind of molds together. I picked up The Lightning Thief last month or this month. Nearly afraid to reread it. You have this picture in your head and you don't want to mess it up because you come from that child's imagination, and I can assure you that it does not get messed up in any capacity. For the rest, they're in no particular order. I just kind of wrote them down as I thought of them. Circe. Circe was one of the books that I was reminded that Greek mythology retellings exist. It was one of those things that I knew it was Greek mythology and I was inspired to read it, but I didn't know how much it was going to take me into the Greek mythology hole that tends to happen to me. The thing with Circe, and I think Madeline Miller in general, is that if you enjoy Greek mythology, you will 100% love Madeline Miller because she puts her puss into putting artifacts, past history, past wars in Greek mythology, the lifestyle that the Greeks that were worshiping the Greek gods would do. She does her research. It really shows. Her writing is very almost academic. I got a lot of lessons from Circe. If you're into, I don't want to say like a villain origin story, but if you're into revenge, pick up Circe. It's wonderful. Circe, I think, is a goddess. Is Circe a goddess? According to Google, Circe is a minor goddess and enchantress in Greek mythology who is known for her ability to transform people into animals. If you're aware with anything from the Odyssey, it is a scene in the Odyssey. I don't know what the series is called, but A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I ate this shit up, dude. It was so freaking good. A Touch of Darkness is a Hades and Persephone retelling in a modern world where Persephone is very aware that she's a goddess, but she tries to hide it because she wants to live among mortals. She wants to be a journalist. The thing about Hades and Persephone retellings is that most of the time Hades is going to be domineering, but he's not going to be what the typical Greek myth is, and that's mean, heinous, scary. That's always going to be like the stereotype that the girl thinks or Persephone thinks he's going to be, and then he's not, and you take a step back. You're like, oh, he's sexy and kind. If you're looking for like a really quick, easy, kind of Kindle Unlimited Greek mythology based book, on the same track, just like a step heavier in the smut, is Neon Gods by Katie Roberts. When I picked this book up, I could tell by the cover it was going to be pretty smutty, but I was pretty thrown off guard. I don't love smut-focused books. I get really bored. I love the slow burn. Who doesn't? Once you're together, I literally could care less. Bye! It's all about the chase. But I still enjoyed it. It's another one in the modern world. I think it's kind of mafia. You know the same old story. Hades takes Persephone. Demeter, in most Hades and Persephone retellings, is seen as like kind of the bad guy, which is so fascinating because if you look at like the actual story of Hades and Persephone, yeah, homie's a creep. One of my favorite retellings I have ever read in my entire life is The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. Wow, this one took me by surprise. I received this as an ARC and I read Greek mythology on the back, and as I'm making this video. Obviously, it's going to be the first thing that I'm going to gravitate towards. It's my favorite thing to read about ever. I picked it up, and the premise is essentially a trial is happening that the Greek gods hold every once in a millennia. They pick a mortal champion to fight for them, and your main character, who was cursed by Zeus as an infant, gets picked by Hades, who has never ran in the Crucible ever. If you win the Crucible, for that Greek god becomes the king of the gods. So the premise was incredible. And then I read the book, and I felt like I got my feet taken out from me. Dude, Abigail Owen ate. She knew what she was doing. She did her research, the lore that was used. Every other page, she's talking about a different artifact, a different war that happened. The Titans, which are the Olympians' parents, grandparents. I genuinely wish that I could reread this book for the first time. I devoured it, ate it up, couldn't get enough of it. If you haven't read it, please do yourself the favor. The best way you can describe this book is Percy Jackson and the Hunger Games had a baby. Those are some of my favorite Greek mythology retellings. These are the Greek mythology based books that I'm going to be reading this fall. I am currently reading The Sea of Monsters. I plan on doing a reading vlog with that. I'm having such a good time. Again, it's so easy to read. I'm eating it for a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Cannot get enough of it. The next one is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Alexandra Bracken wrote The Darkest Minds. If you remember that, back in like the 2010s era, it was super, super popular, and I really enjoyed it for the time. Lore is basically about 9 Greek gods are being punished, and their punishment is to walk the world as a mortal. And one of these gods has an enemy that is going to finally take on this god because they are mortal. Sounds super interesting. The cover is immaculate. It looks like Medusa, so you know that that's going to be some sort of scene in there. Pumped, excited, ready for it. This next one, whenever I talk about it, I feel the urge to like mouth breathe and pant because I'm so nervous. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Here's the thing. This book was super popular a couple years ago on BookTok, and I never read it on purpose. I was spoiled for one, and the people that I saw reading it, by the end of their reading vlogs, they were in a state of like psychosis. I don't necessarily want to put myself through that. I'm really scared because I know the way that Madeline Miller writes. It's a retelling about Achilles. So Achilles is one of my favorite stories in the scheme of Greek mythology. So I'm excited, but I'm not excited to not be okay. The last book I'm going to be reading, at least to be determined, this fall is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I've seen so many amazing things about this book. If you Google popular Greek retellings right now, Ariadne comes up. I thought that Ariadne was the girl that Athena turns into a spider, and I think I'm wrong. Or maybe I'm right, I don't know. I didn't really look into that, which was stupid before I started this video. Sorry, I had to change my space. That's the beauty of living with people. Anyways, the premise of Ariadne, I cannot figure out how to say it. The very bare minimum of what I know is she helps Theseus kill the Minotaur. Anyway, if you have any Greek mythology recommendations for me, I would absolutely love them. I beg you, I cannot get enough of it. I'm constantly searching. I like the stories that aren't typically like academically written, Madeline Miller aside. I just like a fun, immersive story. If you have any like that, please let me know. Thank you for attending Jocey's first booktube. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm terrified. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to be aesthetic. I am a literal mess at all times, if you can't tell. Let me know what you're reading this September. October is going to be my month where I read the spooky shit. Thank you for watching. Love you so much. And I'll catch you in the next one. Love you, bye!